podcasting is one of the new big things out there in the world of entertainment, and there's podcasts about everything. There's fantasy football podcasts, there's sports podcasts, there's movie podcasts, there's comedy podcasts, there's news podcasts. They're everywhere. A lot of kids listen to podcasts already, so using a podcast as your way to get your flipped classroom stuff out there could be a great way to connect with the kids. A lot of people have Audacity, which is a free software that is provided by the company SoundForge. They make a lot of professional audio mixing stuff for professional audio mixing software that actual radio stations and actual professionals use. And Audacity is a free product that's available to teachers and to everyone out there that wants to just kind of get their feet wet. Podomatic is a web-based version of a similar type of software. Again, it's a little bit simpler than Audacity is. I found it a little bit easier to use right out of the box, just getting started, than Audacity. Podomatic, as the website says right here, it says featuring millions of free mixes from the planet's best independent podcasters, which means that not only are you able to make your own podcast on Podomatic, but you have access to other people's podcasts on Podomatic as well. So there are like people that are actually making podcasts out there to try to attract listeners, probably other teachers like yourself, and they can be useful. Again, got to log in, got to create an account. I've already signed up, so I'm just going to log in. All right. So when you log in, you've got your homepage here. You've got your podcasts. You use this podcast tab to navigate through all the podcasts that are already out there. So you've got education. You can go to K-12, higher ed. You got games and hobbies, comedy, business, arts, religions, spirit. So depending on what you're teaching about, so maybe you're teaching a social studies class, and right now your topic is Islam. Well, you go out here through the Islam. Maybe we can find a podcast that's already available about Islam that you can just use. If you can't find what you're looking for on the podcast here, let's look into the K-12 higher education or the K-12 education podcasts. See what we can find. Well, there we go. See, we got a Mr. Ducharme's class podcast and Nibita Podar's podcast. So other people's podcasts are already out there. Now, you can't find what you're looking for. You want to do one of your own. That's where the publish tool comes in. If you can't find what you're looking for in one of the other podcasts, you can publish your own. Now, if you're going to click podcast, you can do you can just create a podcast. I'm not going to go through and create an entire podcast because it's going to mess with our recording. But I'll kind of walk you through the steps. First thing you got to do, always, is your title and description. So your title might be the topic of your podcast. Right now I'm getting ready to teach probability. So probability basics. That way I can send this out to my kids and say, here, listen to this podcast over your holiday break before we come back to school in a month or so. And they can get an idea about what podcasts are. I'll click Save and Continue. And as you'll notice up here, across the top of your window, you basically just have a big giant arrow. It's going all the way across. So you are going to work your way through the arrows one step at a time. Got a couple different options here for how you're going to get your audio in. You can also make video podcasts with Podomatic. I think technically those are called vodcasts with a V, but I'm not going to get that into it. I'm going to continue calling them video podcasts because it's easier to say. You can upload files from your computer. You can upload things from your media library. You can record using your microphone. Again, I'm not going to record because I'm using the microphone to talk to you right now. Or you can transfer from your computer using FTP. I don't want to do that. Or you can just say I don't want to select audio or video and skip this for right now. So I'm going to skip this step. Now, if you don't want your students to just be listening to a podcast, if you want to have sort of a video podcast and throw in a few visuals, you can also upload photos from your computer, from your media library, from images on the web. Of wherever you want to do, and they're going to show them in there. I'm going to skip this step as well. Like, that puts us on over to tags. That's what people are going to search for when they are looking for your podcast, and that's what's going to make it fit into one of these categories up here. I'm going to have a tag of probability. That way, if students are looking for my probability, they can find it. Save and continue. Well, at this point, you're going to review and publish. These are all of your facts about your podcast. You can say when you want to publish it. You can say who you want, if you want if you want anyone to be notified, if you want to put it on Facebook, any of that stuff. And then when you click save and continue, it's going to ask you this. I don't have anything attached to it. You will have stuff attached, so you're going to be okay with it. You're going to put yes. And then you're going to be able to view the episode page right here. You can embed a player in a web page. You can email people right from the site. But on your episode page, you can send the URL right here to all your students, and that way they can see it. They can also, from there, they can make comments at the bottom of your video. That would be a great place maybe at the end of your podcast or the end of your video podcast or whatever it is that you decide you wanted to do with your podcast. You could ask a reflection question, and maybe your students would be able to reflect at the bottom. They could respond to each other. You could use the comment section any way you want to, but these will be saved on there. I don't know if you noticed. Let's go back a couple pages right here. It says Go Pro, and you'll get 2 gigabytes of storage and 100 gigabytes monthly bandwidth. Well, we aren't really using any bandwidth, and I haven't used any storage yet. 500 megabytes, probably enough if you're not going to use this really heavily. But let's see, a Pro subscription, kind of pricey. So, $224, $90 a year at the least. That's another service that's out of my price range. But the free account, it works out okay. All right, Podomatic, good way to get started using podcasts to flip your classroom.